Watch the circle right in the center. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another tutorial video, and I'm excited to be here for this one because this is a fairly old principle of mine, something that I've recently rediscovered, and I want to share it with you because there are so many ideas of things you can do with this. Once you know the secret to this trick, so many ideas are going to start to come to you, I'm sure of it, so let me know down in the comments what you would use this trick for, and yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this. But before we do that, on September the 1st, I launched the Dystopian Gaff Deck, which is a deck of cards packed full of devastating secrets. Seriously, magician-fooling stuff inside here. This is not one to be missed, and these cards can accomplish tricks that blow my mind, and I'm the one that came up with a lot of them, so it is some seriously powerful magic. If you want to get your hands on a deck, then all you need to do is head to the Magician.club or go to the link in the description and join the King tier anytime in September. You can also cancel anytime in September if you just want the deck, but you also get all of the other stuff on the Magician Club in the same price, plus the deck sent to you at no extra cost, free worldwide shipping. So if that sounds interesting, head to the link in the description, sign up to the King tier today, and yeah, without further ado, let's dive into these gaff cards, which require a little bit of construction, but they are some of my favourite gaff cards. A couple of the tricks I showed in the intro, you could theoretically achieve with a flap card, right? Some folding gimmick with magnets maybe, or definitely some elastic thread. And the reason I'm not going to teach you a flap card method in this particular video for this trick is because flap cards can let you down. I've had it in performance where the elastic has broken and it's given up on me in an important situation in the middle of a performance, and that is just not what we want. And also, with this method that I'm going to teach you, you are entirely under control as to when the magic happens and how slow the magic happens as well. Like with the rising card, you are under control the whole time and you know that the gimmick isn't going to give up on you because you're the one doing it. So yeah, let's dive into exactly how they work. There's a few different variations of these gimmicks as well. They're not all the same type of gimmick and they don't all work in the same way, but don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to make all of them and perform with all of them. We're going to start with one of my favorites, which is the Your Card Is gimmick, where you have a card appear inside that box. It can be used as a card reveal. You can even get one card to change into another, but that's sort of another type, which I'll cover in a second. So grab yourself 2 playing cards, because that's all you need for this. And you're also going to want a bit of plastic, a bit of clear plastic. Now, the plastic I use is from the Phantom Deck by Joshua J. This is just the best type of plastic for me personally, but any clear plastic, as long as it's fairly scratch-free, that should be okay. It's just this one is playing card thickness and playing card size, so it works. But honestly, do not worry about getting the exact type of plastic. Make this work for you and I'm sure it'll be fine. So, of course, you're going to need your clear plastic. You're also going to need some rubber cement. This stuff is brilliant if you're making gimmicks. The reason magicians really like this is because once it's all stuck together with this stuff, you can actually peel the gimmicks apart and just rub this stuff away. It just rubs off completely dry and you're left with undamaged props. So if you're using things like money in your gimmick making, this stuff is great because glue will obviously wreck the money. This stuff won't. You can just peel it off, rub it away, and you still have the money if you want to then go and spend that money. So this stuff's brilliant. Of course, a couple of Sharpies and a scalpel and a cutting pad. Now, once again, as I always say, when you're making gimmicks, I can't take responsibility if you slice your head off with this. But yeah, I can't take responsibility if you hurt yourself making these gimmicks. Do that at your own risk. And you're also going to want 2 playing cards. One of them needs to be a court card. The other one, just a random card. You're never going to see the face of it, but use whatever back design you want. So, we're going to start with the court card, and what I'm going to do is cut across the face of this from one border to another. So from one blue line on this side to the other blue line on the other side. But I'm going to do it in a bit of an unusual way. What I used to do was just cut straight across the card in a perfectly horizontal straight line. But what I now think is much better is actually following the grooves of the court card. Now, there's no specific way of doing this. I don't have a way that I always use, but this is what it looks like. So I'll just do it for you. So there, it does not need to be exact, but it hides the cut perfectly, because if I take the blade and run it through, you can see what I've done. I've just followed the ups and downs, the sort of random pattern in the court card, just like so. And I think it makes for a far more disguised cut. So that's all you need to do for this card. That's great, and it sort of happens about halfway across. On the other card, we now need to draw a window. This is going to be the little box where the card reveal will ultimately happen inside. And when you do this, it's important to make sure that when the cards are on top of each other, that box doesn't interfere, doesn't overlap with the cut that we've made. So just do it where there will be a nice big space underneath. So we're just gonna take a Sharpie and draw a box. Very, very simple. What I would suggest is the thicker the lines, the better. So don't try and have it too fine line. The thicker the better, because now we're going to cut this window out with the scalpel once again. And if you get rid of some of the ink, that is absolutely okay, but I'm just cutting around this box. Just going to cut along those lines like this, and we are done, just like that. So I can take the little box out, and now, tiny little extra detail, I'm going to colour the inside edge of this cut with Sharpie, just to disguise those little white bits that show through from the cut. I'm just going to use the edge of the Sharpie to make sure that it's a nice black box. So just like this, that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick both cards together. So you want to apply rubber cement here and here so that these parts can stick together, and you also want this top edge right here and this top edge right here to also be applied with rubber cement so that they stick just like this. The one bit you don't want to stick is the channel leading from the cut to the window, just like that little section of card. So while that's drying with rubber cement, you're going to take the clear plastic and you're going to cut a strip that is the width of the little channel that we've left unglued on our card. Once that's done, you are almost there. All that's left to do is just add the text or the drawing or whatever presentation you want to use, and you should end up with something like this. Now this is the gimmick. As you can see, it says your card is, and with a shake, the text appears. So what's going on here? How do we take these elements and make the trick? Well, some of you might have already worked it out, and it is very, very simple when you know the secret, but all I'm doing is sliding that card reveal up and down, just with my thumb at the back. My thumb moving up and down is the only sleight of hand, it's not really sleight of hand, that I need to do to make this trick work. And here's what's going on. This is just on a piece of plastic that is sliding into the gimmick just like so. You can see it goes into that slit and it appears in the window. So with my thumb, I'm just moving it up and down to make that text appear. Again, the other ones have slightly different versions if you want to make the card change or make objects move or all that sort of stuff we'll cover in a second. But as a basic version, this like flat pack gimmick is just so resilient. Unlike a flat card where the elastic will eventually wear out and snap, this will just not wear out. This will last you years and years and years. Maybe the cards will need sticking together every so often, but that's not really happened for me. And if you want to reuse the plastic as well, there is actually a way of changing the card on the plastic without getting a new bit of plastic. This is probably the sort of weakest part of the trick, is that the ink will sometimes rub away, but you can actually erase this and rewrite it. Even if you wrote it in permanent marker, in Sharpie, you can erase Sharpie. You might not know this, but if you take a whiteboard marker, a dry erase whiteboard marker, and ink over what you've written in Sharpie, wait for it to dry and then rub it away, the Sharpie will also rub away. It's a brilliant little life hack. You can erase Sharpie using that method. We'll start with this one, which I call noughts and crosses. You can get a circle to change into an X. It's a great little visual piece of magic, and I made this gimmick in particular specifically to prove that you don't have to make it all neat and tidy at the back. If you're doing it on camera, it doesn't really matter what the back of the card looks like. It can be a mess. You're the only person that's ever gonna see it if you're performing on camera and not surrounded, so it really doesn't matter. And this one is messy from the back because it's just a mess. There's cut cards and things all over the place. But if I slide this out, you can see that once again we have a nought and a cross on a bit of plastic, and when this is slid into the little gap right here, you can see the window already. It lines up perfectly with the card underneath, and it just looks like a cross drawn on a noughts and crosses board. Simply by sliding with my thumb up and down, I can get that to change from a cross to a nought, just like this. And on the back of the gimmick as well, actually, these little lines right here, you might notice, they're just for me. They're just for me performing, so I know where to slide the bit of plastic to so that it shows a nought and a cross. For instance, I know it's showing a nought right now, and now a cross, and a nought and a cross, without looking at the front of the card. I'm just using my guidelines at the back of where to stop my thumb. So I'm helping myself with the trick. I've made little markings like a ruler just to help me watching the trick from the back. Because it's in the middle and you have space above and below, you can even get 3 phase changes. You can have things slide down bit by bit. So if you want a card reveal that appears and then it's wrong and then it changes, you can have that. You can have objects move, or there's so many possibilities, especially with the noughts and crosses version, which I really, really like. So I'm not going to construct another one of that. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. Again, if you want help with anything I talk about in a video, feel free to leave it in the comments, and I'm sure I'll get around to it eventually. But now we're on to the rising card. Rising card, bit of a classic of Magic in my opinion, and in this case the 2 of hearts has been selected, lost into the deck, and then you take a playing card and you draw a deck of cards on the card. So you put the ace of spades at the front, you make it look 3D, nice and cute. Now I'm not the best at drawing, but I'm pretty good at Magic, so what I can do is I can shake this deck of cards and a card rises out. Not just any card, but when you hand it out for examination, it is the very same 2 of hearts, and they can keep this drawing as an impossible object. They're looking at it thinking they just saw it move, but now it's permanent marker on the back of a playing card. It makes no sense, and it's a really nice little bit of impossible magic. Now, it does require a switch, and in this case I went down the easy, lazy option of just doing a switch below the level of the camera, but there is a practical switch that you can do for this as well, which I will teach you. But first, constructing this little rising card gimmick is very, very simple. If I rise the card again, and then I keep rising, you can see that it's actually just, once again, a bit of plastic with a miniature playing card drawn on it. And this is just a card with a slit. So it just slides in right there from the back. This is all I'm doing. I'm just sliding that card up through the slit. Super simple construction. You just draw a deck of cards, put a slit at the top with the scalpel, and then a bit of plastic of the right size, and you draw the card on it. So simple. The bit that's really important to do, the bit that sells the trick, is handing it out for examination, because you need a drawing that is identical, or as near to identical as possible, with the deck of cards on the back and the card rising out of the top. You need that because you need to do this. So you're blowing the ink over here, bigger action hides the smaller action. As you turn, I've already done the change. I just switched it then. This is now the actual drawing. All I did was a top change. Super simple top change. So if I do it again, this is the gimmick. So I've turned it round to myself, and I'm just hiding the slit and the gimmick with my hand like so. I'm blowing, and as I turn from here to here, I'm simply doing the change in that motion. Now, if you don't know the top change, it's super simple. I did a video on the Magician Club teaching it. This is the gimmick right here. The drawing is on top. All I'm doing is pushing this off, coming here, grabbing this one, and leaving that on top of the deck. There's a lot more to it than that. That is a pretty basic teaching of the top change. There's a lot more to it with the misdirection, but when you add in that motion, you've just done the rising card over here, you come over here, you blow it, you pass it down, and people are just immediately wanting to examine this. They're not going to care about the deck. They're not going to care about anything to do with the deck. The deck of cards is so irrelevant. They're going to care about the fact they just saw a drawing move. Are they on some sort of drug? They don't know. You know, they're going to be tripping out over this, and that is a really magical souvenir to hand that out. And they're going to be showing this to people going, I saw this drawing move. How mind-blowing is that to them? It's like, I saw this card rise out of this deck, and now it's just a drawing. It's a classic of Magic, and it's not to be underestimated at all. So those are the 3 main types of gimmick. Now, as I said, there are so many possibilities of things you can do with this gimmick. I'll just show you another example of something that I came up with literally yesterday. You have a cartoon drawing of a house. and then the door opens. This one, I actually didn't use any clear plastic. It is made 100% out of playing cards. This is the little sliding mechanism. There's the door, there's the little hole in the card. All I do is slide it in, and then with my thumb at the back, I'm just lifting up and the door opens. Now, things like this are simple, and the worry with this trick, and what I worry about when people are gonna do this trick, what does this mean to a spectator? He drew a cartoon house and the door opened. What is that? That's not, it doesn't mean anything. There's no semantic connection to the audience of what this means, whereas their card that they lost into the deck, that has risen from a deck of cards that's just a drawing, it's personal, it's about their card. Now, with things like this, you can actually change the card reveal to be a personal bit of information, a surname, a name, a PIN code. You can have this be information that is divined in the moment, or some free choice that is come up with in the moment. There is a way of doing that. I'm going to teach that on the Magician Club, of having, you know, a name or a PIN code or something personal to them appear as part of the trick, because Cartoon House, they don't care. They don't care about it. It means nothing to them. It's just a silly drawing that a magician did. It's probably a trick card. You know, a lot of those thoughts go on when they don't care as much about the magic. And you know, arguably you could say the same about this, but if you tie it into a game of noughts and crosses, something that they're actively involved in. Now, of course, I'm not saying that visual magic is bad, not at all. I love it. I think it's great for video, great for social media. You're swiping through Reels or Shorts or TikTok or whatever it is, and you see something visually impossible. I think that's great. I think that's lovely. I don't think every trick has to have this emotional weight or this personal connection. I think sometimes, as magicians, it's okay to just accept that this is a fun visual thing, here it is, and then on to the next trick. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. So there we go. That is this tutorial. That is how to change, vanish, appear, animate any drawing or writing on the back of a playing card. This system, this principle is something that I absolutely love. I've been playing with it for a very long time, and I cannot wait to see what ideas you come up with. Once again, make sure to leave those in the comments. What trick would you do with this principle? And if you end up making it and filming it, then tag me on Instagram at CavGuyB, or you can tag the Magician Club at themagician.club. And yeah, there we go. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the thumbs up button down below on your way out. It takes 1 second and it is massively appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing down below, joining the channel. I do tutorials, I talk about anything to do with magic, so if you're a magician or you want to be a magician, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a future video. We now have 17,000 subscribers, which is absolutely crazy, so the road to 20k is fast approaching. Thank you so much to everyone who's subscribed already. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.